Hello, this is Anjanette,
And I'm Sean.
and this podcast is Take a Food's Advice, where hopefully we can share some real life experiences that will help you maybe not make the same mistakes or give you some just a little wisdom on life and the pitfalls, and not only just the pitfalls, but the blessings that come with life. So, Sean, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I want to say first, but I say this all the time because I love you, Anjanette.
Love you too, Sean.
You know, you're my sister, you're beautiful. And I'm really proud of you. I know, I think I told you that before a long time ago. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You got to tell, I feel like I just got to tell you that as much as I can because it's a blessing. But today we're going to call this roots. How deep should we get? All the way deep, deep?
Mm-hmm. Deep
For
as
real,
you
for
want-
real?
Yeah, for real, for real. Deep as you want to go.
Okay. You gonna start? I'm gonna start.
You can start, and,
I
and
need.
I just chime in, or do you? I can start. It doesn't matter.
I'll start.
Okay.
One of the things I can say about me now, as I got older, it is truly a blessing to get older. It you be so confused. At least I was when you in your 20s and your teens. It's miserable. That's a miserable time for me. I feel good now, but I had, as growing up as a kid, I was messed up. I really was. And all I knew is that as I was growing up, God was preparing me for my ultimate, as I could say, fall.
Go. That's my dog, y'all. Sorry.
What I mean by that is, and I'm gonna get into that, when I did that 20 years in prison. Do you know my imagination as a kid was really, really broad. I used to do crazy stuff. I'm exposed this because to me, God was preparing me. I used to mess with sticks all the time. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Have them sticks going with your music.
Retard. I don't know what it meant, but
Maybe it was a way of coping.
no, what I realized is when I went to prison, I had to go into my mind. And if I didn't go into my mind, I would have went crazy. I did 20 years flat. I had to go through everything. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, that opened my mind to just get away from stuff that I guess stuff that caused me to feel bad or down. You know.
Do you think, since we're going deep to the roots, do you think the way we was raised had something to do with how you, I, or any of us, Tiff, Eric, how we react to attacks or disrespect, or how we seem to have not had the control that we should have over our anger? Do you think that was generational? Do you think that was had something to do with the way we was raised, although it was out of love, because your parents tell you don't let nobody hit you. Somebody hit you, you hit them back. But our parents went a little deeper than that growing up. Mm-hmm. And we can go into how deep they went, but they went a little deeper, even to the point of leaving a shotgun home with us. Remember that we got into it with the neighbors, and they left the shotgun home with us, and we were probably.
Let me chime in if I can. I apologize. I want to chime in. That gun messed me up. You know why.
Sean, 1 second. Keep talking. You keep talking because I'm gonna have to put him up because he's not gonna stop.
Okay.
Sorry.
But can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
That gun messed me up because that was the gun that caused our whole life to change. And like I said, we'll get into that. But I want to start to the roots. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard.
And you know, you remember that situation with that gun, don't
you. Yeah.
Okay. But as I was saying, growing up as a kid, I was messed up. I was messed up bad. And the only way, I'm telling you, messing with them sticks, I don't know what that meant. And having a
you, it seemed like.
What I used to do was pretend I was somebody else. I wasn't.
When you was playing with them sticks, you would be, sometimes you'd be laying down, but you would be listening to music and you would have that stick and you'd be just doing like that with the stick, listening to music.
I was driving a car at that time. I'm riding a car with music. That's why now, you know how loud my music is in my car, right? I pretended to be what I wanted to be.
Okay, so where did this come from? Why did that start? You say you was messed up and you did that to escape. Why?
To be honest with you, sitting back, analyzing this, not because I never really analyzed it. I think that I was a disturbed child, meaning it's hard to explain because I done crushed that so many years ago, because that's what I had to do in order for me to be a man. Prison taught me how to be a man.
But not as a kid. As a kid, you
what I'm saying,
trying to be a man.
Correct. But what I'm saying is,
as a kid, you got in trouble a lot.
Exactly.
As a kid, you didn't follow direction. As a kid in school, you always did something. You know, as a kid, you would be on the side of the house smoking cigarettes. As a kid, you were sticking hangers into socket. As a kid, whenever we went to a babysitter, you would be in trouble because you had did something. You would have done something. So it was something there. I don't know if it was because daddy was rough on you. And we can get deeper into that because later on you found out that he was not your biological father. And looking back now, we see that, but he was rougher on you. And you was a bad kid, but he was rougher on you totally than he was rough on me. I remember one time ever I got a whooping.
Now let me say this, and what you say is true. But I found out he was my biological father before I got grown, because y'all used to tease me.
Because we used to hear it when they would get into an argument. So we would hear it, but we did not know it 100% until one time, once mama was dead and we was living with grandma, I said it, and you took it to grandma and you was like, next saying daddy, not my daddy. And grandma was like, he's not. That's when we heard it 100% and not through an argument.
But that's how y'all looked at it, but I didn't look at it like that. I never felt I was messed up so bad as a kid, believe it or not, that made me, that always stuck out in my mind.
I bet.
But I love this man. And I knew that man loved me. You know what I'm saying? I knew that. Because when I was born, he put my name with his name.
Right.
And he never really treated me different. He just did. He had to do what he had. He did to me, for real, looking at it now as a man. I tested him as a child. I wanted attention as a child. And the only attention I could get was an ass whooping. So it didn't bother me going out in society and being aggressive, or as they call it, violent. It didn't bother me to do that because that's how I was trained. If all I'm gonna get is a whooping, or I'm scared of it, don't get me wrong, I'm talking this mess now.
But it was attention.
The root of it was.
Right. And then just to go back a little bit, yeah, daddy loved you without a doubt, but just to go back, just think we're older than he was then. You see what I'm saying? So he was rejected by his father. So he has some underlying issues that he was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Growing
But see, as not to cut you off, sis, but as a man and as a woman, we see that. Right. This is the blessing for me to get older. All my pain, all my stripes, it builded me to look at life totally different now. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna get back to what we were talking about. I tell you, sometimes I'll call you at 6 or 7 and then I tell you, we talk about what we're gonna talk about, but like, I'm going to bed. Don't I do that a lot? I'm not mad. People are really thinking it's something we're going to bed early. But that's what I want to do. So what? I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not bothering nobody. I'm using simple things like this to say how people try to make you think and feel a certain way, especially when you're young. But as a 50-some-year-old man, I don't give a damn. And I can be real with myself. And I want to be realer with myself. So I said all that to say, as a child, I know now that the root of my problem was attention. And I don't like attention now, though. I don't like it at all. I'm seclusive, very. But I love people. I love a lot of things. The thing with me as a child as well, there was a lot of kids like me. So we all fitted in negatively, but we did what we did. You understand what I'm saying? You may not be able to comprehend this as a woman or as a little girl, because I'm a boy. I can't let nobody beat my sister up. I'm the big brother. That means something.
Well, well, that means something for a sister too, because as a sister, I was always there protecting you too, as I thought, or standing up for you too. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just family, period. But
you know, what I'm saying is, not to cut you off, what I'm saying is that's true. And a lot of sisters and brothers would do that. What I'm saying is, as a man, we are protectors. And if you're a weak person, or you're a person that has no kind of backbone, so to speak, people will try you. Other men will try you.
But we talking about kids. We
I'm talking about kids.
Okay.
This is why, in my mind, I've gotten so many fights. There was a lot of kids disturbed like me. So whether it's the father, whether it was not having a father, whatever it was, I wasn't the only kid participating in nonsense. Let me say this one little thing, and then you can say your question. I mean, what you want to ask. Excuse me, y'all. One thing about me, and if I'm lying, Anjanette, correct me. Usually, if I get into it with somebody, they been messing with me, right or wrong.
Not as a kid. No, wrong as a kid. Because you used to pick as a kid. You picked as a kid.
With who?
With everybody. You played a
No,
lot.
I picked with y'all.
You picked with us or
I didn't pick with other people.
that the kid, just the kids around us, most of the time you was picking or being funny. You know, it wasn't like we was around a lot of kids. Now it's different from the strangers, like the people that wasn't in our neighborhood, because really we wasn't around nobody but the Greens, right? And we was around family, right? So, but growing up, I want to just get back to growing up. Would you say, as a little boy, not as a man, because we're just talking about kids, as a little boy, how was your life? I mean, where did it start? Okay, for instance, with me, when I think about being a little girl, to me, I had a good life. To me, I always felt loved. To me, we had family gatherings, which people don't have too many now. Like the kids always got together. We had an aunt and uncle that had parties in the basement, all the kids upstairs. You know, so we grew up family life.
Correct. And let me chime in if I may. One person that stuck out in my life, and he made me the lovable person I am, is Edward. April and Nyaka's daddy.
Our uncle, married to daddy's sister.
Right. Edward was deaf, meaning he couldn't hear a speech. Big dude. Strong as an ox. He used to take, and Anjanetta bear witness to this, we would be in a car, me, you, mama, and daddy, all in the car, Eric, all of us in the car, and he would literally lift the front end of the car off the ground. Am I lying? But the thing he did for me, when he came around, he used to kiss me, I could punch him. He really loved me.
He was giving you what you wasn't getting.
But once again, that's my favorite guy. Edward was my favorite. Uncle Al, that's my man. But Edward was lovable.
I loved Edward. Edward loved kids. He was really good with kids. He just loved family. He just was really good.
Man, that man made me feel love. And we would go over there. Actually, excuse me, most of the parties would be over their house on Central. Center, wasn't it?
Center, I think so.
And this is in Michigan, y'all. Center Street. And we used to really have fun as a kid. I'm not saying that I was tortured. I was beyond bad because mentally I was messed up. Maybe they call it HD, whatever they call it now.
And maybe that is. Maybe you weren't never diagnosed as a kid because.
I'm glad though.
Huh?
I'm glad. I don't believe in popping pills. I'm not into that.
Right, but nowadays you might have been diagnosed, and but mom and daddy wouldn't have did that anyway. They didn't believe in that, so they wouldn't have did it. Maybe you would have been back then diagnosed.
Of course.
88.
There's no doubt in my mind they would try to shove me a pill. Like I said, you know, I just always related to the wrong. As a kid, in the sense of I was with that. But that, I also had my family. Me, Gregory, would always get into a fight every time we go over Uncle Edward's house. You remember that?
I remember you and Greg used to fight. I don't know where. I don't know if it was necessary.
We'd be at the parties. So they used to buy Uncle Edward bought boxing gloves. You don't remember that?
Yeah.
And they would let us go back there. See, that type of love is
They were
beautiful.
good. They spent a lot of time with the kids.
But wait a minute, let me show you what I'm talking about. That type of love, to me, I'm so glad I got it, but it only teaches you how to be aggressive and violent. I've never been taught to be peaceful. I've always been taught to be violent.
Well, we're gonna have to finish up. Sorry. We're gonna have to finish up, but give your we'll finish up our next week video, but give your food advice. Take your time. If I don't get mine in, that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, my fool's advice is this. Stop judging people, whether they are alcoholic, dope fiend, whatever. Stop judging people, and you'll find beauty in everything you see. I do this now, it's just, and my heart makes me do this. If I see a spider in by the door or somewhere where I can get him out, I don't kill him, I let him out. Why I let him out? He ain't really doing nothing to me, it's spider. And I say that to mix in judging people. If you deal with everything in this world in a peaceful way, your mind will start opening up. So my food advice, simple and plain, be careful how you look and judge others. Give me something, sis.
That's a good food advice. I'm gonna let us close out on that food advice because I like that, because everybody judge to a point, and we all need to get out of judging, because you don't know what that person has been through. You don't know that person's story. And why do we judge? Why?
Because I feel like they running from what's in their closet. If you start cleaning your closet, I tell you, trust me, you'll start really you might go crazy. That's why they don't do it. But I have to do it because I go crazy when I'm doing things that's not productive. I feel 20, but I know my body saying, ha ha, you 54. So sometimes you have to understand real is real. And so that person we laughed and talked about or whatever it may have been, if they're still around today or whatever, you think back on, you learned something, or you know what I'm saying? That you were just totally disrespectful. But I'm serious, man. Try to have more love in your heart. Not a superficial love, but a genuine love for life. Your life will be a lot better. I had to learn this the hard way. So I'm just telling you.
That's a good food advice, and I'm gonna practice that from today on out in my life. Don't judge. Don't look at a person and assume anything about them. If you can't show them love, walk away.
And I tell people this, and I'm saying real quickly, I tell people this as well, man. You don't have to deal with what you don't want to deal with. Who's making you deal with it? That's another beauty about being old. They don't care what Jesse, you shouldn't care. It's a shame. There's a lot of people out here trying to be somebody that they're not.
Right.
You better learn about God.
Right.
And humble yourself. You ain't gotta be super religious, but you better understand you ain't here for nothing.
Right.
I salute y'all.
Salute. And I want to get this plug in for my jury. Visit my website, http://AngieB522.blog. Angie B Jury.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, sis. I gave y'all the wrong email. Anybody that needs to talk to me, want help, anything, my door is open. My email is Sean, SEAN, SWANSON. The Swanson has 2 N's at gmail.com. Hey man, love is love. Love you, sis.
Love you, bro.